Welcome to another edition of the Blue Jays Avenue podcast. We have a special guest in here, and he's a known guy who covers the Vancouver Canadians, and he does the batter box and writes articles for csplusbaseball. Niall O'Donohoe, welcome. Man, I've been waiting for you to do this for quite some time, and finally we got this done, and we're excited to have you on, especially where the state of this Blue Jays franchise and the Vancouver Canadians is at. Welcome.
Well, thanks a million for having me on. You guys are certainly putting in good work, and I understand, as you were just telling me just a few moments ago, kind of a milestone episode, number 60. So that's pretty cool. Nice round number.
Yeah, the big 6-0, man. So we're excited, man. We're excited to talk about everything Vancouver, because it's just the J system has gotten better in the last few years, and you guys are seeing a lot of high-end prospects down there, and they're doing really well the last couple of years. So, excited to talk about it today with you, and thanks for joining us today.
Oh, no problem at all.
All right, so let's talk about the season that has gone through right now so far. And look, we know that they were off to a very, very slow start, and seems like not everything was clicking for the Vancouver Canadians with the injuries and all, and there's still a couple injuries. We'll talk about those guys later in this episode, but talk about the season, the way it's gone, and now that they're playing a little bit better baseball. I know that they lost today, but just talk about the season as a whole, and what's your analysis so far?
Well, it's really been a season of ups and downs, and a team in the Eugene Emeralds has basically decided to dominate the entire league. The Canadians actually, I believe, are still the only team to have actually beaten the Emeralds back-to-back. So at least that's a feather in the Canadians' cap. And for the most part, they played Eugene pretty tough. But, yeah, just a slow start to the year. They got swept in Tri-City to start the year. And they did get their record back to 500 at 9-9, but then after that, things kind of started going downhill. They've been kind of playing up and down baseball since then, but the bright spot for me has been the starting rotation for the most part. Mm-hmm. I was a little surprised that Johnny King did start the season here in Vancouver. I thought they're going to wait for the weather to warm up a little bit, kind of give him perhaps a Trey Savage treatment, where Trey only got to pitch once in Vancouver. I think the team was very deliberate in planning his extended stay in Dunedin, because really his performance in Dunedin, I think it probably should have been an earlier promotion to Vancouver. But it's been nice to see Johnny King. Didn't have his best outing today. Unfortunately, only got one out. But and his ERA was below 1 heading into that start, and we're in late May now, so, that's how well he's been pitching. So, as a 19-year-old, he's been doing really well in the Northwest League.
You mentioned the pitching being the strength of the Vancouver Canadians. Talk a little bit more on what makes the rotation so strong, and what are some of the weaknesses that you guys have gone through this season?
Continuing on with Johnny King, Holden Wilkerson has been more or less his piggyback starter. And, it's kind of been neat to see those guys throwing mid-90s or upper 90s heat. Wilkerson, he's kind of come out of nowhere. He's kind of gained some more velo, and he's been a nice surprise. And Danny Thompson Jr., another promising arm. He's another pitcher I think to look out for. But I would say Wilkerson definitely one to watch. Daniel Guerra, he was the pitcher of the week or pitcher of the month. I get them all confused after a while. But Daniel Guerra had a stellar month of April. This is a guy who's been throwing 97, 98. Struck out 10 his last start here in Vancouver. Only got through, I believe, was 3 2/3 innings. But such an exciting arm, and if he's able to just find a bit more pitch efficiency, that's going to lead to more innings under his belt. But yeah, Guerra's been very exciting. We kind of saw that in Dunedin at the tail end of 2025. But Daniel Guerra, very exciting starter. And of course, Nolan Perry, since he's come up from from Dunedin. I'm almost kind of wondering how the clock's got to be ticking on Nolan Perry to be heading to New Hampshire soon. I was really impressed with his last start. He struck out 10. He was more or less just cruising right along against Everett first 4 innings. I think he was only up to maybe 55, 56 pitches. And then in the 5th, that's when Everett started to make him work. But he managed to get out of a base-loaded situation. He struck out the last 2 batters he faced. And his pitch count was starting to get up there, around 80, 85, I believe. I think that's kind of where it finished. I was happy that Jose Mayorga and the coaching staff kind of gave sorry, my pinwheel's going here. Perry, there you go. Yeah, too many exciting arms to talk about, but Nolan Perry, that they gave him enough rope to get out of the inning, get the 5 innings, and get the victory. So to me, that was probably the best start of the homestand last week against Everett.
Awesome.
So we saw that reports that prior to the season, we thought that Arjun Nimmala, one of the Jays' top prospects in the system, was going to start at Double-A, but instead he started at High A again. And it seems like, with his age, he's still relatively young, right? For when he was drafted, he was, I think, the youngest prospect in that draft at 17 when he turned 18 later in the year. But were you surprised that he started off in Vancouver? And also, now that he got promoted to New Hampshire, like, what clicked for him? Because we knew that last year he was off to a great start, and then he struggled to the end. And he was injured, of course. But talk about his time in Vancouver now that he's also striving in New Hampshire as we speak.
Well, Arjun Nimmala, I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen a player have so many media requests in a season than he did. And,
wow.
I mean, like, of course, Sportsnet, I believe NBC talked with him, MLB Network, Global. I mean, basically anybody who was a major media outlet he was speaking to. And I was lucky enough that Tyler Zickel managed to get me a chat with him as well. And, Arjun, he was on fire the first 2 months of the year. He was battling Lazaro Montes of Everett for the home run lead early on, and didn't quite go deep. Things just didn't click for him after June, July, August. But you know what? I really think the media attention, that's got to get to a guy. I mean, you're 19 years old, and it seems like he had media requests every day. But you know what? He got through the season, and I think sometimes maybe as far as Blue Jays development staff, maybe they like to see a prospect kind of struggle, kind of get punched in the mouth a little bit. And the fact is, the Northwest League, only 6 teams in the league, so you're facing the same guys. They're making adjustments, you're making adjustments, and of course it's a 6-game series, so that's got to account for something too. But I thought defensively, though, heading into 2026, I thought he vastly improved. I thought his throws were on the money. He showed some good range deep in the hole and short. I really liked his glove, and I think he kind of came back to Vancouver with a chip on his shoulder. Like, he enjoyed his time here, but I think he just wanted to get to New Hampshire as quickly as possible. I don't blame him. So I mean, but he was still cordial with everybody. So, but I'm sure he was just relieved, and the fact that he got promoted was 2 or 3 weeks ago, just before the homestand ended. So I guess not a lot of people got to say goodbye to him. I mean, he was done on a Saturday, I believe it was, and then he was out of town on a Sunday. So, but certainly wish him the very best. Nice young man, and he's had a lot on his plate. I really think the media thing, it was crazy. Hopefully it's settled down for about a little bit. Maybe now that, maybe the buzz is kind of, just kind of worn off a little bit. Now he can just focus on being a baseball player.
I know we've talked a lot about Johnny King just in the last, beginning of the few minutes since the show began, but we've recently talked with Director of Player Development Joe Sclafani about Johnny King, and pitching coordinator Ricky Meinhold gave us his insights. So Give us your insight. Go deeper a little bit on Johnny King and tell me just what makes him so special. He's the second best pitching prospect behind Trey Savage currently. He's soon to be promoted, so he'll be the number one guy. So talk a little bit more about him and let everybody know just what makes him just so electric and special on the mound.
Well, he's guy who throws 95, 96. Sometimes I think we've seen him touch 97 at Nat Bailey Stadium. The fastball's been electric, and I did have a chance to chat with him. He's from Michigan originally, so he grew up a Tigers fan, and I think seeing Justin Verlander, that's kind of maybe one of his early on influences. But yeah, he just looks really calm and composed out there. His first inning at Nat Bailey Stadium didn't go quite the way he liked. He only lasted one inning, but he did a great job, I thought, limiting the damage to one run. Bases were loaded, and then a visit to the pitching coach, Eric Yardley, seemed to settle him down. And, you're pitching on opening day. That was a thing, too, so that was a big honor for Johnny, getting the opening day start at the Nat. But he was able to get out of it, struck out the last two guys, and after that, he was pretty much nails until today. And, again, as I mentioned, his ERA was below 1 heading into the start. It's only about now 2.2. So that's kind of a good indication that, he's had a heck of a season so far, that he's not intimidated at all as far as pitching against guys who are older. To him, he just said age is just a number. He wasn't concerned at all as far as, pitching against guys who are, 3-4 years, maybe 5 years of age older than him. So, I thought he's looked really good so far.
The two pitchers in the rotation that stand out for me so far this year, and we always talk about, even last year when you had Trey Savage and Gage Stanifer as the breakout pitching prospects last year, but this year to me it's Nolan Perry and Daniel Guerra, and man, amazing. Like, Nolan Perry just got promoted to Vancouver, and he's just continued to show dominance. Like, I haven't seen anything like that in quite some time. I can't even recall a time when the pitchers pitch, especially in Vancouver, like in that level, because it's so tough to pitch in that ballpark, as well as Guerra. Like, what seems to work out for both of them? Because like they seem like the beat goes on, and they just keep performing well.
Yeah, they're just very, very calm, very composed on the mound, and they don't seem to let things bother them. I kind of noticed with Guerra, he just kind of takes his time. I know there's a pitch clock, but just from his last start, it's almost like he didn't have a pulse. He was just very calm, just kind of took his time, just kind of fidgeting around, and then he just went to work. I mean, he didn't get called for any pitch clock violations, so he just seemed very calm. That's kind of the impression I got from him. And sometimes he would lose his own, but other times he was so dominant that he's got the stuff to come back. And you know what? At the very worst, he'll definitely be his floor, I think, is definitely a high impact reliever. Somebody who's a leverage reliever. So hopefully they can get something more out of him being a starter. But he's done really well so far. I've really liked what I've seen from Daniel Guerra, and he's racked up a league award already, so kind of gives you an indication how well he's been doing so far.
Oh, you mentioned a lot about Perry. Go ahead.
Perry, yes. Okay, yeah. No, I was just trying to think with Perry. Same thing. Just he's just all business on the mound. Just a good demeanor, and just able to get the job done. I mean, he just piles up the strikeouts. I think the fewest he's had so far with Vancouver in his start's been 8. So, I mean, that kind of tells you right there. I think he's reached double digits a couple of times already, and I'm hoping to get to see him pitch again here this homestand. It wouldn't be out of the question that maybe the Jays are thinking about maybe moving him up to Double-A, but hopefully the Seas fans will be able to get to watch Nolan Perry more than once and not get quite the Trey Savage treatment. But, that's just me being selfish. Of course, that's the name of the game. These guys are the goal is not to be here too long. I mean, like Arjun Nimmala, he wanted to get to Double-A. I'm sure he probably thought he was going to start the year at Double-A, but but nope, came back to Vancouver and had his signature moment with a home run over the video board to dead center field, and just had a much better glove. But Perry, yeah, very excited to see him, and had a chance to talk to Nolan, and that interview will be coming up soon enough on my blog. So, yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, lots of exciting arms, and I don't recall it being quite this way, except maybe last year when it was Trey Savage and Cal Steven and Gage Stanifer, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And, going back to Savage and Stanifer, when they did appear together, that one game at the Nat, absolutely electric. I think Stanifer actually had the better outing, and they got the victory that day. So, yeah, lots of exciting arms. Good to see, but it seems like this year especially, it seems like they have a chance to win no matter who's starting on the mound. It's just sometimes the offense, they've been inconsistent, bullpen inconsistent, but the starters, that's definitely the strength of this year's team.
What about the rest of the rotation? You got Gilberto Batista, Silvano Hechavarria's on the IL, I believe. And you kind of mentioned about Danny Thompson and Holden Wilkerson. Just talk about how some of the mid to back end guys have been, aside from Nolan Perry and Johnny King.
I'll start with Gilberto Batista. We just kind of got the official announcement on how to pronounce that name. And actually, I'll tell you an embarrassing story about Mr. Batista. My 2004 fandom kicked in. I introduced him as Miguel Batista. And, of course, Tyler Zinkel said, "Do you realize what you just did?" And I said, "Oh, my God." So, yeah.
Oh, man.
One for the blooper reel. But getting back to Gilberto, he's been logging a lot of, piggyback innings. He had a tough start to the year, but he is starting to settle in. He is starting to get better. I mean, he was part of that Danny Jansen trade, the deal that also saw Cutter Coffey come here last year. Cutter was last year's best player offensively for the team on the team awards night. Certainly can't give up on him yet. Nice man from the Dominican. He's been around, I think, 95 as far as radar gun readings go, but he's had his moments as well, and he's logging more innings, and he's been doing pretty well so far. I know you mentioned other names. I'm just trying to remember.
Landon Marutis is another one.
Marotis, yes. Landon Marotis, yeah. He got the opening night start in Tri-City. He's had his ups and downs as well, but I think the good thing about him is his velocity has returned. I know he had a very tough time in Dunedin last year. I think he was kind of struggling to hit 90 on the gun, but he has been up to 94 and 95. So he's just settling in. I'm not too worried about him. He's got a lot of talent, and I think he's going to get better and better as the season wears along. We're getting to that point of the year now that the weather's getting warmer, and I expect things to get better. I mean, these guys are now settled in 2 months into high A ball in the Northwest League. It's a challenging league, as I mentioned, with just 6 teams. So it's always a game of adjustments with these guys. But Maronis, he's had his moments as well. Batista, he's had his moments as well. Danny Thompson Jr., wasn't really sure what to expect from him, but he's looked good as well. I know speaking with Doug Fox, if he's able to develop another breaking pitch, that this is a guy who could, be a major league reliever. But, again, it's just about getting innings and getting in reps and that sort of thing. And, so we've covered Batista. Sorry, was there? I think there was one more name on this here.
Holden Wilkerson, I believe, was the last one.
Holden Wilkerson, yeah. Holden Wilkerson, amazing young man. Went to Virginia military, and he's a very disciplined young man. Managed to get his degree because he went back to get something like 20 and a half credits in a very condensed time period. So, wow. That military background, makes him very disciplined on the mound. And so far, he's really enjoyed the tandem starting with Johnny King. So, throwing heat from the left side, throwing heat from the right side. And he says he enjoys coming in because it's a different look, so it's a different look for batters. He hasn't been lucky as far as the win-loss column goes, but he strikes out a lot of guys, and he had a velo uptick. He's been around 96, 97. I think I've seen him touch 98. So wow. Terrific young man, very disciplined. Certainly somebody who knows what he wants, very smart, and I was very impressed with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's some other pitching prospects that, there's so many pitching prospects we could talk on and on, but I'd like to mention some guys that could potentially be great as well. Like Austin Cates is one name that, that gets talked about in the system, or Reese Wissinger is another one, and Carson Myers and Austin Morozes. We had him on not too long ago. He just got promoted to Double A as well. Like, talk about some of those guys and where they stand. Like, how much pitching depth do this team has? Like, it seems like it's starting to become like a factory now, like with this organization.
I'm sorry, I was really laughing. My Austin Morozes memory, and this is another one for the Blooper Rail. So, when he was first called up last year, and I had no idea. I didn't see the transactions column. That was my bad for not checking it. When 36 came out from the bullpen, I said, okay, who is this guy? I don't know who it is. And then I thought I heard Landon Morotis. I said, oh my God, he's up already. And so I was kind of shocked about that. And then, so I introduced him as Landon Morotis, not Austin Morozes. So yeah, seems like I'm good for one blooper a year. But I went down to Austin the next day to apologize. I'm sorry. I did have a chance to talk with him a couple of times. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see him pitch a lot. I believe he only pitched 2 times last year in Vancouver, and then he went on the shelf. I believe it was a hip problem he had. And I was looking forward to seeing him pitch again. I think he only pitched once during the first week of the year. But a big guy like that, 6'8", he cuts quite an imposing figure on the mound. But yeah, I mean, I was happy for him that obviously being an older prospect, that he was able to get bumped up to New Hampshire. So I hope things go well for him there. So yeah, that was my. That'll always stick with me about Austin Morozes, but I wish him all the best. Sorry, the other names. I just got
Reese Wissinger is another one.
Reese Wissinger. Yeah. We got to see him pitch during the last homestand. What can I say about him? Well, a lot of pitchers. Blue Jays seem to have tapped into a pipeline with Southeastern University pitchers. They've had J.J. Sanchez with the Canadians. He was a left-hander who was with the Seas the last couple of years. Colby Martin, who only pitched once for Vancouver. Unfortunately, it was not here. He got traded away. And Jay Sheeler, who's with us now. And Sheeler, he had a bit of a tough outing yesterday, but I thought it's been one of their more consistent relievers, and then Reese Wissinger, who they just recently signed. So, so it seems like the Blue Jays, they seem to like what they see out of a Southeastern University. But Wissinger, the other thing I noticed about him is sometimes when I try to take pictures from the broadcast booth, his hat is pulled way down low. It's like you don't see he has any eyes. I mean, that's so he's one of those guys just like to have that hat pulled way down low. He pitched. It was the South Asian Heritage Game where they wore those special yellow uniforms for that. So it didn't really get a total feel for his stuff. I think it's around 93, 94, 95. So that's kind of what I remember about him. Certainly look forward to seeing him more during the next homestand. But so that's him. Anyone else?
I think we mentioned Mason Olson's another one as well.
Mason Olson, I only saw during photo day. That's it. He was not here. He only pitched once in Tri-City, and he was in New Hampshire. So So unfortunately, I can't really say too much about him other than he was at Nat Bailey. Unfortunately, Canadian fans didn't get to see him pitch, but fortunately for him, he's moving on up to New Hampshire's been doing pretty well there, so good for him.
Yeah.
A couple other guys from Photo Day that haven't appeared for the Canadians at the Nat. I know we're kind of going on from pitching to position players, but Jake Casey was around, and was looking forward to seeing him play. Of course, fairly outgoing, kind of like his old man, Sean. So that would have been nice to see a bit more of him. And Matthew Valet, who the Jays signed, stolen base king in the Frontier League, stole like 80 bases. I think he had one in Tri-City before he got injured on opening weekend. So, yeah, it was too bad not to get to see those guys. Hopefully, they'll be back soon. Sam Shaw, hoping to see him fairly soon with Vancouver. He's finally rehabbing now at the complex. So, looking forward to seeing him. And, of course, Silvano Echeverria, you mentioned, excuse me, a little bit earlier. Silvano, I think it's between him and Austin Cates, I thought were really the best pitchers for the Seas in the second half. I really liked what I saw from Echeverria, and of course he was ranked accordingly as one of the top arms in the system. Nice young man from Cuba, had a chance to chat with him. Just a terrific individual, and it'll be nice to see him back again. I know he's rehabbing with Dunedin right now, but it sounds like he's going to be back in Vancouver sooner rather than later, so that's good as well. Austin Cates, I thought, was outstanding. He hardly walked anybody when he was with Vancouver, and that's kind of a trend during his college career at UNLV with the Runnin' Rebels, and didn't quite dominate the way he would have liked, but he had his moments. He had 10 strikeouts, I believe, in 4-inning outings, so I mean the stuff is definitely there, and he's moved on up to New Hampshire, so nice young man as well, and you always just like to see these guys succeed and do well, and and especially thrilled for Adam Macko to get called up. So that was great as well. I know. Sorry guys, I'm going off on tangents all over the place, but Adam Macko, I was absolutely thrilled for. That made my weekend last week when I heard the news he got called up. I have nothing but respect for Adam Macko. Of course, he grew up in Ireland, so kind of a bit of an Irish connection there. But
awesome.
He was with Everett. The very first time I saw Adam pitch was against the Canadians. I remember him totally baffling Addison Barger with a curveball for a strike. And I kind of love pitchers who can do that. Kind of just pull the string on the big Uncle Charlie like that. So, and the fact that he can throw mid-90s as well. And Adam will also go down in Canadians lore as the pitcher who won Game 1 in the 2023 League Championship against his former team in Everett. So he set the tone for that series, and 3 more games later, the Canadians were Northwest League champions for 2023. So,
cool.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, I could go on about Adam. I really could, but just a tremendous individual. Really thrilled for him that he's now with the Jays.
I want to ask you a bit about the back end of the rotation with Kalena Sauer just recently promoted to New Hampshire. Jonathan Todd's been pretty solid, and Jay Schuler's been really, really good, really underrated guy there. So just go into a little bit of depth of what the closer situation is like in Vancouver.
Yeah, they haven't really had a set closer, so to speak. Yeah, Jonathan Todd, as you mentioned, he's got 3 saves. He was with the team last year, pitching out of Western Carolina. He was a draft pick out of there. Jonathan has looked pretty good. I think he's just been trying to aim for more consistency, and he's been one of their more reliable relievers. Jay Sheeler, I thought, unfortunately, he had a tough day yesterday, but I thought he's been outstanding. He's kept his ERA in the 2s. I've liked what I've seen out of him. And the other name? Sauer. Sauer.
Sauer.
Yeah, Kalena Sauer from Hawaii, and I'll give you a challenge right now, guys. If you go to his MILB.com page, see if you can pronounce his middle name because I can't even tackle it. Thankfully, yeah, it is something. But I don't mean to make light of that. But anyway, I thought he had some tough moments to start the year. Of course, he's coming off injury. He did see some time in the Arizona Fall League, and he managed to pitch last week. That's the last time I saw him. And then next thing you know, aloha to him. He got called up to New Hampshire. So very talented arm. Yeah, around the mid-90s. Like I remember this fastball. I was hoping to get a chance to chat with him, but didn't quite work out. But for the limited interactions I've had with him, nice guy, and well done to him for getting the call up. But yeah, it's been a lot of movement. I think we're going to get a lot more movement in the coming days, and hopefully, we're going to see more of these great prospects from Dunedin.
Let's dive into the outfield depth of this organization, and there's so many guys we could talk about here, but the two guys that stand out for me that taken to the next level is Carter Cunningham and Alexis Hernandez. Alexis Hernandez has been on a tear. He's been raking, and we look at his highlights, we watch his games time to time, and Carter Cunningham, those two stood out so far this year, and I know that they've been trying to find some outfield depth. That's the lack of need, but it seems like it's starting to turn its corner to a certain degree. Like we saw Sean Key last year, man, he had an absolute year, and he's still raking in New Hampshire. That's another guy. Victor Arias is another one who has been with this organization for quite some time, and now he's in AA now, right? Or is he still rehabbing, Victor Arias, or?
He was still playing for New Hampshire at last check. I checked the box scores. Okay. I do remember seeing it. Yeah, so I was sad to see him go because he was a big part of the Canadians' first half surge, which they missed out on the playoff berth by half a game. But he really was the straw that stirred the drink atop the order. Very exciting player, and who knows, maybe somebody we're going to see in Toronto, in the very near future. But getting back to Carter Cunningham, again. You're going to hear this a lot. A tremendous individual. He gets involved with community. He's definitely all about that. But yeah, he's found his home run stroke. I mean, Nat Bailey Stadium is not really a hitter's park. I guess it's that marine air. It just kind of knocks down some deep fly balls. Of course, we have that big wall surrounding right field and part of center. Of course, then the video board. Bit of a porch in left field. So that's kind of where the more likely home runs are hit, but yeah, Carter definitely found his power stroke. Had a super hot April, player of the month. It's cooled down a little bit in May, but the weather's getting warmer and warmer. And he's had his moments too. He's still taking his walks, good on base, and he's made some nice plays out in the outfield. So we've seen a lot of them there, and of course he plays first base as well. I know he's a little bit old for the level, but I'm sure we're going to see him in New Hampshire later on this year. And of course, a teammate of Trey Savage, and I remember at a team-ending barbecue after the final game of the year, somebody had asked Carter, "Do you think Trey Savage is going to be up with the team?" And Carter picks up his phone. Said, "Well, let's find out." So he called up Trey Savage right there at the spot, had him on video, and got to say hello to him. So yeah, I mean, East Carolina, it's been pretty good with Carter Cunningham, and yeah, I'm sure we're going to see him definitely with New Hampshire. And Alexis Hernandez has been smoking hot. I mean, he had a really good series against Denver last week, and he's continued it with Spokane. Yeah, he had a bit of a slow start to the year, but he's just gotten better and better and better and better. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in New Hampshire very shortly, if not this week. That's how hot he has been. Yeah, and he had a tough start defensively at center field, but he's settled down now. Another nice young man comes over from the Boston Red Sox system. So yeah, definitely like what I see out of Alexi. So yeah, he's been doing well. And Carter Cunningham right now, Northwest League leader at home run. So at last check, and it's kind of been a while. I mean, Arjun Nimmala was kind of trading it back and forth, but it'd be nice to see a home run hitter, with the Canadians. love to see the long ball whenever you can, because it's not all that common occurrence sometimes at the net.
Give us the rundown of the infield depth for Vancouver. They recently got Dub Gleed in a trade. Manuel Beltre's been in the system for a while. Tucker Toman was drafted a few years ago. Spent a couple years in Dunedin before being promoted. J.R. Freethy, Tucker Toman, I mentioned Tucker Toman. Peyton Williams is another one who was promoted to, I believe he was promoted, and then he was sent back had a bit of a setback in his development. And he's been killing it for you guys, though. So talk a bit about some of those guys, and his name, the Meat Truck, man. I just absolutely love that.
Yeah,
I had to mention that.
The Iowa Meat Truck, that was a discovery made by our play-by-play announcer, Tyler Zickel. And because Peyton was wearing a shirt, I guess, about this meat truck company, and that's how the name kind of grew from there. So the Iowa Meat Truck. Actually, Peyton, we thought for a second he actually had a shot for an inside the park home run last weekend.
Wow.
After that, but wound up with a triple. And you know what? He is a big guy, but I'll tell you, he's faster than you think. But he's been robbed by the right field wall a couple of times. We thought for sure, that ball's going out, but it's a big wall in right field. So I don't think he's had a home run yet since rejoining the Canadians, which really surprised me. I thought for sure he had one or two down the line, but he's been hitting for high average, good on base, and defensively, he gets the job done at first base. I don't really recall anything, anything egregious. I mean, he's been, whatever he gets to. I think my first memory of Peyton Williams was preserving a no-hitter for the team in Everett, and I was fortunate enough to be there for that. He had homered earlier in the doubleheader, and then in game 2, wound up jamming his shoulder, diving for a ball at first base, but was able to flip the ball over to the pitcher. And Devereaux Harrison and Kevin Miranda were part of that. It was Devereaux Harrison, and he pitched the first 6 innings, and then and he's with the Cardinals now, and I'm trying to remember the name. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. But anyway,
was it
with the Cardinals?
The Dutchman there? What's his name?
No, not Robinson.
Was it reverse?
Kloffenstein?
Kloffenstein?
No, it wasn't him either. No, it was not Adam Kloffenstein. It's killing me right now. I cannot. Anyway, he helped preserve that no-hitter, 7-inning no-hitter. I mean, hey, that's the rules. I mean, yeah, it would have been great if it was 9 innings, but it was 7. I just remember, he gave up the body of that one. But unfortunately, he wrecked his shoulder. He was out for a little bit, but then he came back for the playoffs, and again, the injury bug struck. He jammed his wrist into a fence going after a foul ball, and so he had a couple of injuries to recover from. But yeah, he was really solid for us in 2024. 2025 didn't go his way, but he's starting to find his groove again. I think he's somebody else who should be heading back to New Hampshire in the very near future. So
Matt Sevison. That's it. I remember because he was traded for Paul DeYoung, right? So
yes,
I remember that.
Yeah. That's okay. Yes, Matt Swanson. Yes, thank you. That was going to kill me if I didn't come up with that. Thank you for that. But yeah, Matt Swanson. So yeah, some names there for you. But yeah, that's kind of what I remember about Peyton. Yeah, I mean the doubles power is definitely there. Really good eye at the plate, and again, I mean Matt Bailey Stadium, not a hitter's park at all, and I'm sure the porch will be very inviting in right field when he does go up to Double-A once again. So let's see the other outfielders. Tucker Toman. I have really liked what I've seen from him defensively, especially at third base. He definitely has the arm for that position. I really liked his glove. He came up tail end of last year. Really liked what I saw from him. Got off to a tremendous start in April, winning a Player of the Week. Same week that Daniel Guerra won Pitcher of the Week, so that was a highlight for those guys. He's cooled off a little bit, but I expect him to get it going again. But yeah, Tucker Toman, nice young man, and I'm sure he's going to get things together again. Manny Beltre, somebody else, lots of talent. I mean, he's had his ups and downs, but he did win a game for the Canadians, a walk-off, a game, I think really right now the signature win of 2026 for the Canadians against Hillsborough. They were down 6-0 at one point, and then Manny hit a 2-run single in the ninth to walk it off 7-6. So definitely his highlight. And of course, he hit his first home run in Nat Bailey Stadium last Sunday, right into the left field bullpen. So he was starting to tick up a little bit, but unfortunately the average came back down. He's been around the 220 range, but definitely the talent is there. He's also looked great defensively. He's made some really nice diving catches. There's definitely one on his player page where he absolutely made a beautiful diving stab. So the Canadians were wearing a special uniform that day, and so it won't look like the usual Canadians red and white uniform, but yeah, I wouldn't give up on him yet. He's still age appropriate for the Northwest League, and it's a chance for him. He's been toggling between shortstop and second now with Arjun Nimmala gone, so it's really been between him and Maddox Lotta. And Maddox Lotta, I've really liked what I've seen out of him. He's been slowly but surely playing well. I mean, he's had a pretty solid month of May. He's chipping with hits, and he's looked good in the infield as well. I've liked what I've seen out of him. And Doug Glade, of course, the fan favorite in Nat Bailey Stadium. The fans, when they get rowdy during those rallies, they love it when he comes to the plate. They're just chanting "Dub, Dub, Dub." I mean, last year that was the same treatment for Eddie Micheletti. Eddie. Now this year it's Dub. So I think he's the clubhouse leader for probably the fan favorite award at the end of 2026. But he's chipped in with the occasional home run and positional versatility. He's been at third base mostly. I think we've seen a little bit of him in the outfield as well. So that was a nice pickup for the Leo Jimenez trade, and it was sad to see Leo go because I really like what we saw out of him, and I guess unfortunately the opportunity wasn't there. But Doug Gleed's been a nice pickup, so they've done well. The Jays getting somebody like Doug Gleed, and I think he'll be in Double-A before the year's out.
Yeah, because you mentioned about Doug Gleed, and the thing is, like, we didn't know what he was, because when he was with the Marlins, I saw some of his metrics, and I saw some of his stuff. It's like the Marlins weren't moved about it, but it seems like Doug Gleed is starting to hit for power. Like, if you look at his numbers, his OPS is actually above average, right? Like, has this game improved since he started being with the Vancouver Canadians? And if you look at it now, has he gradually improved throughout the progress?
Yeah, I think definitely the improvement is there. He started off really well, then kind of tailed off a little bit, but now the arrow's pointing up again. And as you mentioned, he's chipped in the occasional home run. He's had, I believe, 1 or 2 this weekend or this week's homestand in Spokane. I don't think he's gone deep here yet at the Nap, but we're looking forward to that, and I think the place will explode when that happens. So that'll be great. But that's pretty much all I can tell you about him. I think we're thinking behind the plate now. Edward Duran. He did start the year with us after finishing the year with us last year. Unfortunately, he got sidelined due to injury. He's with Dunedin right now, so we should see him back fairly soon, I would think. He was really good defensively, I thought, and he definitely has some power in his bat. Finished last year with a 10-game hitting streak, and hopefully we'll see him get going again. The other catcher is Jacob Sharp, returning from 2024 in the Jimmy Garcia trade with Seattle. So that was a trade that worked out really well, I thought. A former UNLV running Rebel. He's looked really good. He's been swinging a pretty good bat lately, and very very athletic behind the plate. So and we've also had Hayden Gilliland. He was with the club last year, and Hayden is definitely. I'll tell you what, he definitely adds a lot to a clubhouse. I think it was between him and Aaron Parker last year, probably the funniest guys in the clubhouse. But Hayden has shown pop, shown also good on base ability. I believe as one game earlier this week, he had 3 walks and 3 runs scored. I believe that was their big win against Spokane, 15-0. So he's shown a good eye at the plate. The average hasn't come around yet, but he does have pop, and so they've been, they're pretty well covered behind the plate, especially so when Edward Duran gets back. So, yeah, I think that covers it as far as behind the plate goes.
Yeah, Edward Duran's another guy they got from the Marlins. This team loves making deals with Miami, and they seem to do well. So,
it's worked out well on the other end for the Marlins. Yeah. Let's see, we've had Griffin Conine there.
Griffin Conine,
of course,
yeah.
Griffin Holmers in his return to Toronto to end 2024. Otto Lopez, Leo Jimenez. So
really
so it seems that's where former Canadians seem to resurrect their careers. So I mean, good for them.
So between the 2 guys that you just mentioned for catcher, who do you feel has the higher upside moving forward between those 2?
I have to think Duran. I think he's definitely the most advanced defensively. And after that, it's actually Jacob Sharp. I'll tell you what, he's looked good behind the plate there too. I remember one game. It was an extra innings game that he helped out the Canadians win a game, throwing out a runner trying to steal third base. And earlier in that game, he nearly picked a couple of guys off at first base. So that's got to be a great comfort for the pitcher, knowing that he has the ability to shut down the running game. But it's so hard for catchers to throw out base runners these days because stolen bases always going up. It's more today's game is more designed for more guys to steal bases, which I think is great. But yeah, there's been times teams like Everett or Eugene that's been a track meet, lots of stolen bases, but they've had their moments behind the plate too. And that one game, I definitely remember Jacob Sharp standing out for it, throwing out a runner at third base to cut down the place runner, and then the Canadians were able to walk it off a little bit later on. So that was the one game he definitely stood out. So he's definitely got the tools to handle a pitching staff.
So many prospects we talked about, and year in and year out we talk about prospects that's been up. Like we looked at Mason Flaherty for as a prime example, and he's now with the majors right now. I mean, Addison Barger, Trey Savage, like. Could you see any of these guys that's been with Vancouver last year, this year, that could be in the majors, if you had to project or predict who would be in the MLB in the future?
I'm going to give you a bit of a dark horse pick, and
okay.
I think going former Canadian, and I'll admit right now, cards on the table, he's part Irish, so that's why I've got I got a real affinity for him. Connor Larkin. I think the way he's been pitching this year, he's been solid at Double-A. This year really stepped it up a notch. In fact, he got called up by the Bisons recently. So I would love to see him get a shot at the bigs. Maybe not the most overpowering, but he just finds a way to get outs. And my memory of him will always be Game 3 of the 2023 Everett Championship Series. The most nail-biting game I think I've ever witnessed in the press box. A 1-0 game. It stayed 1-0 into the ninth, and he managed to shut it down in the ninth inning for the save. So that's kind of my fond memory of Connor Larkin. And I only found out his Irish heritage by mistake because when I went to interview him, I said maybe we should sit behind the netting so nobody gets hit by a foul ball, and so that would weigh heavily in my Irish Catholic conscience. And then he told me that his mother was born in Ireland, born in Dublin, so we were able to kind of hit it off right away. So he's somebody I'm keeping track of. I'm just trying to think. I think Sean Keyes definitely. I mean, Sean Keyes was an analytics darling last year. I know the numbers, the batting average didn't show up, but he was on a tear at the end of last year. I think he homered in 4 straight games, and it should have been 5. It could have been 5. He just missed hitting it out again, that darn right field fence robbed him of a 20th home run, but he does manage to set the franchise record, 4 home runs in a season, even including the AAA days. So that's how good Sean was. Always had a good eye at the plate. I think defensively, he's trying to get better at third and first. He's shown that versatility to handle both corners and made some nice plays as well. So Sean Key's definitely somebody I would definitely be keeping an eye on as well. Just trying to think of anybody else that jumps out at me. No, right now.
What about Jace Borfin? Because he was
Jace Borfin, yeah. Jace had a tough year with New Hampshire, but he's been doing a lot better. Jace. The one thing I remember about him is the home runs weren't coming early, but he had a tremendous on-base percentage, and then it started to come along for him a little bit. Again, it's not really, I know I've said it many times already today, but Napa Stadium, not a home run park. I mean that's why I think guys look forward to going to Spokane or Everett, where the home runs are a little more common. But yeah, I think Jace Borfin, I thought it was an absolute steal when they got him. I mean, he began his pro career so well. I thought maybe there was a chance he was going to get called up by the Canadians for the 2023 playoffs. It didn't work out that way, but yeah, it was Jace. He definitely had his moments here. I'm glad to see he's doing well and rebounding with New Hampshire this year.
Yeah.
In your opinion, who would you say is Vancouver's breakout prospect so far this year?
Wow, I would say Johnny King. I would definitely, the fact that he's 19 years old and, more than holding his own in this league, definitely him. I think it would be between him and Nolan Perry right now. But Garrett, you can't forget him either. I just love his strikeout stuff. Like he's been piling up the Ks as well, and of course coming off, a pitcher of the week. So, but if I had to narrow it down to one, I would say Johnny King.
What about Carter Cunningham leading the, tied for the Northwest League in home runs? I mean, I kind of didn't see that one coming, but.
Well, I think he hit something like 10 last year. 10, he was in double digits to the home run column last year.
Right?
Yeah, so 9 now already.
9 already. And,
yeah. Good eye at the plate. I think that's half the battle right there. If you're able to, show that plate discipline, it pays off, and you get the pitches you want to swing at. And let's face it, another, more experience in the league, that's only going to help you out. So, no, I wouldn't say it's super surprising that he's done well. I mean, he was probably really our bright lights during the opening homestand. He hit 3 home runs during the opening homestand. So, he was definitely the bright light early for us. He settled down after a really hot April, but I expect his numbers will go back up. I mean, it's the ebb and flow of the baseball season, right? So,
yep, of course.
But yeah, I expect him. Yeah, and again, I don't expect him to be here in Vancouver all year.
So, looking at the rest of the season for the Vancouver Canadians, we saw what the record shows. I believe they're 18-27. It's like there's so much baseball to be played, and you said their pitching has been their strength. Like, what do they need to do to be better the rest of the season?
I think just really being a bit better at home. I mean, that was kind of a problem last year. They did finish 3 games above 500, but I mean, the year before that, in 2024 or 2023, they made Napa Stadium, their home, and last year wasn't really much of an advantage playing at Napa Stadium. This year, they just haven't been able to find the winning formula. I mean, they did get to 9-9 at one point, but then after that, a couple of close games got away. I think they have to find a way to succeed in the 1-run games and the 2-run games. Last year, I believe they lost 21 1-run games. And, if you go back to the 2024 Northwest League Final against Spokane, those games all decided by 1 run. And I think they've had 7 1-run losses or something like that this year. So, I think that's definitely the one area they need to just find a way. It just seems like, they just haven't had everything going at once. I mean, they're 9 runs up in the runs column, suggesting they should have a much better record. And, they've had some huge blowout wins, 50-0 this week in Spokane. They had one game where Kendry Chirinos and I believe it was Carter Cunningham hitting grand slams in that game. So they did have some blowout victories early on. So that kind of skewed it a little bit. But, yeah, just those one-run games. It's just kind of been a problem last year and a bit. So hopefully they can turn some of those losses into wins. And, second half is rolling around. That just seems to be the attitude around the team that, you know what, they know they're better than what their record indicates, and they're pretty confident that the second half is going to be a good one for them. So let's hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Who would you say, and you've kind of talked about this along the way, but who would you say are the next guys in line for promotions to New Hampshire?
Definitely, I think Nolan Perry, for sure. That's definitely one of the six. Lexi Hernandez, I think they'd be pretty high atop the list. Peyton Williams as well. I definitely think he'll be moving along fairly shortly. Those are some of the guys that stand out to me. So yeah, I'll definitely be tracking the transaction column Monday and Tuesday, and see what happens. But yeah, those are the guys I expect. Especially Nolan Perry. I think, I hope we get to see him one more time at the net. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's in the Eastern League pretty shortly.
Yeah.
Could you see Tucker Tolman get promoted? Because I know he's been in the minors for such a long time, and he was drafted for a few years. He's been through injuries. I know they had to start from scratch with him. Is there any potential for him to be in Double-A at some point this year, if not next year?
I think he's probably going to be spending a little bit more time. Certainly you can't rule it out. I mean, if he has a hot month, who knows? Maybe they do move him up. I think he's going to be here for a little bit of time still. He got off to a tremendous start in April. Cooled down a little bit, but, he was up there among the Northwest League batting leaders or top 20 at the very least. So, but yeah, I expect and he's still a young man. He's still he's still at an age appropriate level for him in the Northwest League. So, but again, as far as with the glove, I really like what I see out of him. Just a really solid throwing arm. He's made some really nice plays. Just the hitting just needs to come around. Of course, he's given up switch hitting this year, so I think that's probably just trying to maintain two swings. I mean, that's hard enough, instead of just looking after one. So I think that's just probably something he just decided to let's just worry about one swing, and he's now strictly a left-handed hitter. So, but yeah, I'm expecting Tucker to start breaking out and hopefully start seeing him poke a few over the wall. He does have a couple of home runs this year, but still waiting for the first Nat Bailey Stadium round tripper. So, again, these guys too young to give up on yet. I think Manny Beltre, I'm expecting big things out of him. I just kind of like his hustle, just a good demeanor, and just he's a pretty popular guy. Of course, he has his younger brother. They have this Beltre Brothers YouTube channel, so they're always putting up content quite a bit. But yeah, I had a chance to speak with Manny. Really nice young man, and just like the fact his dad was a Blue Jays fan, and he likes the fact they had all those Dominican players. Of course, you have George Bell, Jose Bautista, and Rick Canacion.
Of course.
So, but. Yeah. So I'm expecting a pretty good middle infield as the year continues on. With not just Beltran and Tolman, but Maddox Lada. I like what we've seen out of him. A free agent signing from Cal State Fullerton. So, I think the talent is definitely there. I'm expecting a much better second half. I think right now they just have to keep working on their game. Just develop. I mean, the first half of the season, as far as the standings go, that's pretty much out of reach. Eugene just ran away with the league basically from day one. Everett's, I believe, is the second place team. They're 11 games back. So, So, I mean, winning percentage of over 700. Yeah, but second half, brand new season, and I'm expecting the Canadians will have a much better second half for 2026.
Let's wrap up this episode, and we look at the next guys in line to be promoted to Vancouver, and I know that it's a really young group, very talented group, but I'm pretty sure that some of those guys that, they're the highly touted ones were probably next year's situation. But since you keep an eye on them, who would you say could be up relatively soon, if not in the near future, from Dunedin?
Well, I'm hoping JoJo Parker will be. I think there's a good chance he'll stay with Dunedin, but I mean, if things go better, say July, August, I could easily see him maybe join the Canadians at the tail end of the year. I liked what I've seen out of Blaine Bullard. I think he might be perhaps the most ready of all of them. I'm sure they're going to let him marinate a little bit longer in Dunedin because really this is their first year in the pros. But the fact he's got, I believe it was like 18 stolen bases at last check. So a guy who can steal bases, and of course Jay Cook just starting out.
Yeah.
But I'd definitely be looking forward to seeing Blaine Bullard and maybe JoJo Parker. I think Dylan Watts might be somebody who might be up, or Jack Eshelman. I see he's leading Dunedin with 6 saves, so some bullpen help may be on the way for the Canadians later on this year. So yeah, those are some of the names that jump out to me. And of course, I know Juan Sanchez has had a bit of a tough start, but he's just trying to find his footing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fact that the minor leagues are condensed now, that these young players that will have to go through struggles sometimes before things begin to turn around for them. But yeah, those are some of the names to me that jump out as far as the Dunedin equation goes.
What about a guy like Dane Pingelli? Because he seems like he's been consistently good. And in his 2025 class, it seems like the Jays drafted so many guys. Like you saw, Danny Thompson was also drafted. I think Noel Palmisi was another name that could be in the future. Like, could you see any of those guys be up? And I think another name, he was
Carson
actually
Messina.
raking. Carson Messina is another one.
Right.
Jackson West from Dunedin. I think he's a catcher, and he's been playing out of his mind too. How does this work when they promote guys? Because there's always like a different timeline for certain guys. Like out of nowhere, some of these guys get promoted on different timelines or random times, right? Like we saw, for example, some of the guys who got promoted in New Hampshire, like Austin Morozes or Kalina Sauer. Like they were promoted different. Is it something like these scouts go look and be like, hey, this is the time, and they evaluate when's the right time to promote them to Vancouver or anywhere else?
Yeah, you know what? It's really hard to tell when certain guys are going to get promoted. Yeah. It's as I mentioned, Trey Savage earlier, probably should have been in Vancouver a little bit sooner than he was, but there's just so many factors that I guess us as fans, we're not aware of. It's being a good teammate. It seems like that's something the Blue Jays have really put special emphasis on. Are you a good person off the field as well? What's your makeup like? And I can honestly say, really, of the guys I've interviewed, haven't really had any conflicts at all with them. So I think that's something else. It's just so many factors. It really is. It's like what's going on in New Hampshire, what's going on in Buffalo, what's going on in Dunedin. Like, you just never can tell. I mean, sometimes you think somebody's ready to be promoted, and, well, they get held back a little bit. It's really so tough to tell. You can drive yourself crazy trying to figure out, thinking, okay, he'll definitely be here, or he won't be here. It's just from studying the transaction columns and, just experiencing what's going on with the team, for the press box. Yeah, it's so tough to tell sometimes. Like we thought Arjun Nimmala, we thought, for sure he's going to go to AA in 2025, after the way he started out. But no, they decided to let him marinate, and obviously it's paid off. He's doing, he's holding his own with AA, and actually, you'd really say he's thriving. He's hitting for a higher average, and And I thought, again, defensively, I thought he showed more range and more accurate throws. So, yeah, I mean, you just can't tell. You just can't tell.
Well, Niall, this was fun. We enjoyed this. This is awesome, man. Because like when you look at these young kids, and we project them 2-3 years down the road, and I think prior to our recording, you mentioned about guys like Kevin Pillar, and you talk about past players, Marcus Stroman, Aaron Sanchez, all those guys were like, I mean, we talk about past players that's been in the organization, and we could talk about today where they're at, and it's amazing that we're going to talk about more guys that keep coming within the organization the next couple of years. And, you know, whenever we have you back on down in the future, we're going to be like, hey, we talked about this guy. This guy's up and about it. This guy's a big contributor for the Jays organization, right?
Right. Yeah, it's been really neat to see. And, you know, the way I look at the minor leagues, if you don't make it to the bigs, you know, these guys are still among the top players in the world. They are professional baseball players. The fact they made it here, they have talent. And, you know, that's the way I've always looked at it. I mean, some players are better than others. I mean, I'd love to see everybody come through Vancouver to eventually make it to Toronto. But, you know, that's not the case. But it's so memorable, though, that, you know, you get to meet a lot of interesting players throughout the years. And, you know, Stuart Barola, I mean, I was thrilled when he made it to the majors. To me, that was the highlight of my 2024 season, seeing Stuart, or what we like to call him in the press box, Disco Stu, of course, the infamous dancing in the outfield.
Disco Stu.
Disco Stu, yeah. But one of the nicest guys I've ever had the pleasure of chatting with. Super guy, and I wish him nothing but the best. And yeah, I mean, that's really the fun part about all this, just getting to meet lots of different personalities, and it's been pretty cool. I've been very blessed to, you know, do this blog and, you know, get to work with the team, and it's been great.
And we appreciate you doing this. And where can we find you in social media? Because like we got to share your work, like the work you've done covering this team throughout the years. Like, where can we find you in social media and everywhere else?
Well, as far as social media goes, it's Cs plus baseball. That's CS plus baseball. And you know what? I'm not the most creative person in the world, but I looked up to Doug Fox and his blog, and I said, there's no way I can cover the Blue Jays entirely as good as he does. So I kind of thought I would narrowcast and just start something on the Canadians. I moved here in 2012. I was kind of doing coverage for battersbox.ca, where I kind of got my blog beginnings. Thanks to Jerry McDonald and Mike Green. They were the ones who invited me aboard. So I've been writing about the minor leagues for quite a while. Made the odd trip to Syracuse and New Hampshire, you know, about 20 years ago, and Dunedin. And so that's kind of how I got my start in it. So I started a blog. I kind of did it unofficially, you know, kind of under the hood in 2016, and then made it live for 2017. csplusbaseball.ca is where you can find me. Yeah, basically it's just I've been more focusing on interviews instead of game recaps. You know, life is busy, but you know, as it is for everybody, right? You know, only 24 hours in a day, but you know, fortunately, I still am able to find time to get some interviews done, and there will be more on the way. But yeah, that's where you can find me, csplusbaseball.ca, and on social media again, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm on Bluesky as well. Yeah, but it's at csplusbaseball. So thanks a million for allowing me to plug my stuff.
Yeah, we had a great time talking, man. I just wanted to say about what you experienced being a C's fan. Like, I live in Niagara, so back in the day when I was a kid, we used to have the St. Catharines Blue Jays. They were a farm team for the Jays back in the day. So it's like, you know, I used to see all them guys come through like when I was young, right? So it's just such a great experience, man, to have, you know, be in a minor league town, man. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing like it, man. So
That's one of my regrets, that I never did get to see a game in St. Catharines. I did see the London Tigers when they were AA, the Ottawa Lynx. So yeah, that's kind of how I kind of got hooked on minor league baseball. So absolutely, it's great.
Awesome.
You know, the fact that Nat Bailey Stadium in a nice neighborhood. Yeah, I mean minor league baseball. It's a lot of fun for sure.
It's one of a kind, man, for sure. But thanks for joining us today. We had a great time, man. This was awesome.
Well, thanks a million for having me on. I appreciate it.
We will place a description below where you can find Niall's work, social media, and everywhere else. But till next time, take care, be kind to each other. Signing off from the Blue Jays Avenue podcast on Sunday, May 24th, 2026.